What's up? What's up? I'm super excited to start a brand new series. So, today we're going to be talking about something that has the possibility to completely change everything with you. And so, I want to kick off this conversation on these 5 key shifts that I believe you must make to become the highest paid leader in your industry, or at least one of the highest paid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 5 shifts total. And then I'm going to break them up over 5 different sessions. Okay. So what I really, really desire is that you just become aware of what's stopping you or how you're stopping yourself. And so today, let's say that's shift number 1. You got to become keenly aware of what's stopping you or how you're keeping yourself where you are, and shift that ish very, very, very fast. So we're going to jump into this today. I'm super, super excited to share this because I feel like it's like some secret sauce. So let's dive into this. If you got a pen, get a pen. This is super important. So before I give you all the shifts of what you need to do, what I want to do is I want to start with these 2 major blocks that keep you stuck at pricing plateaus and at income plateaus. And sometimes people get stuck there for years at a time, and you're not really aware of what's happening. And here's what I mean. On the side of pricing, this means you can't seem to raise your rates to a level that's acceptable, not even to you, for the transformation that you feel like you should provide, right? So you want to, but every freaking time it's time, you chicken out, or you have so many stories about why not to do it. People can't afford that, we're in a recession, whatever the stories are, right? My audience won't pay me that much. I hear all those things prior to my clients starting to work with me. These are the reasons why they haven't done it yet. And I don't care where your pricing is. You can be at a level where you're charging 10 and you need to be charging 25 or 50. You could be at a level where you're charging, a few thousand and you need to be charging 10. So this is true no matter what level that you're at. There's some reason why you have anchored yourself to the price points that you're at, especially if there's this deep burning desire for you to actually raise your rates. And so just a quick introduction. I'm Shameca Tankerson. I am creator of the Authority Selling Method, best-selling author of the book, The Power of Permission, How to Set Fire to Your Fears and Sell More. And I help brilliant, badass businesswomen charge more, sell more, and do it with 0 freaking apologies. My clients do things like turn what they used to make in a year into what they make on a monthly basis. And yeah, that's like the norm. So I'm super excited to be here. We're going to dive right into this. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If this is speaking to you, share it with someone. Let somebody know that here's a message that they need to hear. If it resonates with you, if you feel like it resonates with your colleagues, your friends, make sure they hear this message because, like I said, this series is going to be fire. So let's jump into this. So we're talking about pricing plateaus and income plateaus, and we're talking about what keeps you stuck. So I talked about pricing. Let's talk about income. So when it comes to the amount of income you make per month, there's no growth for you. You're just stuck and you can't figure out why. And here's the deal. You might even be making good money, right? It may be good. When clients come to me stuck, sometimes they're stuck in the 200,000s. It's not just the people who are stuck at under $100,000 and they're trying to make their first 6 figures in their business, or the people who are stuck making $30,000 a year and they're trying to make 50. It's not just people who are struggling in their business or struggling to get their businesses off the ground. It's people who have decent businesses they can make a living off of, but they know there's more and they desire more. They desire to have that $500,000 or reach that $500,000 mark. They desire to have a business that's $1 million or more, but every year they're coming in. I had a client last year who came to me who every year for the past 3 years, they'd made under $300,000, like just under, like 18 to 20K, 15 to 20K, under $300,000. And last year we were able to get her with just, let me think how many months were left. With about 5 or 6 months left in the year, we were able to get her past that plateau of the $300,000 mark. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're stuck, stuck is stuck. And at every level, probably likely the reason why you were stuck before is the same reason why you're stuck now, and you need to do some work on that. So over the next few days, what I'm going to be doing over the next few sessions, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you these secrets that I have to charging anything you want for your work, because charging more definitely is one of the fastest ways to ramp up and break through income plateaus and pricing plateaus. So I'm going to do that. But today I want to start with these 2 sneaky blocks. And the reason why I call them sneaky is because most people don't pay attention to them. They don't pay attention. And so I want to talk about these obstacles that are in your way, because none of the shifts that I'm going to give you are going to make a difference for you if your subconscious brain, if the conversation you're having with yourself in secret, or even without you even knowing this conversation is running, right? None of this is going to work if that conversation is still running old stories on sales and what it means to sell to people, old stories on visibility and what it means to show up and ask people to pay you, old stories on worthiness, like who am I to charge this much, or old stories around money, which most of our money stories, most of the things we believe about money, it's not even our stuff. We got that from somebody else, whether it was society or our family. There are ways that we behave when money is introduced into the situation, or things that we believe about money and how it works that we got by default and not by design. And so if these old conversations are still running, you're going to forever be stuck. You will have all of the freaking knowledge on raising your prices. You'll have all of the freaking knowledge on increasing your rates. Like I could tell you how to double, triple, even 10 times your revenue. I can give you the whole plan, but you never will do any of those things. You'll get on a sales call and you're still quote your old rates at the end. You'll put new numbers on your vision board. How many of you guys did that this year? But continue to attract broke people. Can I get an amen? You'll grind it out and go hard in the paint, like literally to the point of exhaustion. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired, because you're just working, but you'll still be making the same amount of money you did the previous month. And for some of you, that might be a big fat zero. You'll still be making the same amount you made the previous quarter and the previous year. No matter how hard you work, nothing will change. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. All right, so let's talk about these blocks so you can get them out of the way for good. You ready? Let's do this. Block number 1, resistance to being paid a whole lot of money. Resistance to being paid a whole lot of money. You're like, I'm not resistant to being paid a whole lot of money. Listen, if you've got internal resistance around being highly paid, like well paid for your work, then there might be a gap in what you view as normal. I always tell my clients, we're creating a new normal. There also may be a gap in what you believe is acceptable or okay for someone like you to charge or earn. And when I say someone like you, these are the things that I'm talking about, because for me, it was cultural and race. So whether it's your industry, your culture, your background, your family situation, your race, or whatever, right? There's some gap in where you want to be and what you actually view as normal or acceptable for somebody like you to charge or earn. So here's what we're going to do today. I want you to check in with yourself, and this is where that notepad is going to come in play. Ask yourself this question. Does it feel normal for me to wake up, or someone like me? So whatever industry you're in, a coach, a consultant, or put whatever kind of expert you are, right? Does it, or if it's your race, does it feel normal? Like, okay, let me go back. I used to have this story that little Black girls from the hood don't make that kind of money. And I'm talking about obscene adult money, like big money, like unless you were rich or Oprah, or somebody who grew up with what we would call a silver spoon in your mouth, or you just happenstance lucked upon some opportunity that came to you, then you could end up being rich. Like you got to be in the NBA, or somebody gave you a record deal, or you married somebody with a lot of money. This was the track that was running in the back of my mind. Like I could make some money. But for me to make obscene adult money, like millions or tens of millions, to be able to create that with my own hand, like a Jeff Bezos, or, name some other people out there that have incredible companies. I was going to start naming names that I don't want to name on live stream. But anyway, there's a story running in the back of your head. I had a story running in the back of my head. So I want you to put in whatever that is, right? Is it somebody in your industry? I have a lot of clients who come from me out of like the therapy world, where they were a therapist and now they want to be in the coaching industry. And so it doesn't feel acceptable or normal for them, for a coach who was a therapist, or for a therapist to wake up to $3,000 to $5,000. So does it feel normal for someone like you, whatever your expertise is, whatever your block is, right? Someone in your nationality to wake up to $3,000, $5,000 in a payment plan, not in a program? Because some of you guys are like, oh, I'm good. I'm getting $3,000 for my program. I'm talking about in a payment plan, because there was a time for me where my payment plans, it wasn't acceptable or normal for me to charge someone over $500 a month. And that was pushing it. It was like $300 most of the time, because my thought process, I was looking at my life. And I'm like, I'm struggling to make a car payment that's $380 something. How dare me ask someone to pay me for the work that I do more than their car payment? Right? So I had to shift what was acceptable or normal. So first question is, does it feel acceptable or normal for you? Plug in whatever you want to plug in. Little Black girl, coach, consultant, expert, whatever industry, to wake up to $3,000 to $5,000 in payment plan notifications every morning. Heck, for those of you who are already getting 3 and you're like, man, I wish I had a 100K offer, or I need to have a 50K offer, a 60K offer, 5,000 to 10K in a payment plan. Can I tell you that feels incredible and amazing to get a $10,000 notification on a payment plan? All right, that's the first question. Second question, does it feel acceptable for a therapist or a health coach or whatever you are, right? Or a little Black girl, I'm gonna keep saying that over and over again. Probably make some of you guys uncomfortable, but I'm gonna keep saying it anyway, because we need to normalize some things. That's what I would call myself, a Black chick. Does it feel acceptable for you to charge $40,000 for your signature service, like that main offer that you have? People have these beliefs that your signature package needs to be like $2,000 to $5,000, right? And then you step up, because we've been teaching the pyramid for over a decade in this industry, in the expert space, right? Or is it acceptable for a therapist turned life coach to charge $40,000 for their services? These are the new normals we want to shift, okay? Next question. Does it feel okay to even set massive income goals, or do you feel guilt or shame? I'm going to sit on this one for just a second. One of the things that I see happening often is people shaming people for celebrating their income goals and wins. And it's great. If you're not a person who wants to do that, that's fine. But for some of us, we've come a long way, and I would love to be able to celebrate that with someone. That's why I surround myself with people who allow me to do that. That's why I do it in in my communities. And that's why I do it loud and proud, visibly in the outside world as I'm leading by example, right? Because I have to normalize making that kind of money because it isn't normal for me, right? I didn't come from, it's normal now, but it wasn't normal from the beginning. So is it acceptable for you to set big income goals? I had, a time in my life where I had a multiple six-figure business, and then I lost everything. And every time I would try, it felt like I was taking one step forward and 25 steps back. I would try again and fail and try again and fail. So my normal was to set a big income goal and not hit it. It became my normal. And so I had to re-normalize smashing my income goals, setting a goal to have $100,000 a month and smashing it, setting a goal to do multiple six figures at my event and smashing it, like blowing my own freaking mind with what I was able to do. I had to normalize that, right? So does it even feel okay for you to set massive income goals? Or do you say things like, well, I don't really need to make that much money? Because I did that too. I hired a coach 3 years ago who shifted this for me massively when I got on the sales call with her and told her I only wanted to make $500,000. That would be good for me. I'd be set there. It would be incredible. And she was like, well, why were we even on the phone? Because I help people, go way past that. And I thought to myself, I was lying to myself because I had normalized playing small. I had normalized setting small goals for myself because I felt like if I set a small goal and hit it, that would be incredible. And so I had to get honest with myself and say, you know what? I'd love to have $1 million business. And now I'm in the stage, I'm like, I would love to have a multi-million-dollar business. But the fear and the shame inside of me of like, you don't need that much money. What is all of that going on? The fear of not being able to hit it, or the guilt of making that kind of money. I would never share it publicly. And now I am. Right? So does it feel okay? I'm going to ask these 3 questions again, just so that you guys can write them down. Is it normal for you? Whatever circumstance you want to put on yourself. I'm going to say little Black girls because that's just who I be. So does it feel normal for little Black girls to make $3,000 to $5,000 in payment plan, or to wake up to $3,000 to $5,000 in payment plan notifications every morning, stretch that to $10,000? Does it feel acceptable for me as a Black woman to charge $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 for my services, $10,000 for my 90-day package? That's the thing I had to normalize. Does it feel okay to even set massive income goals for myself, or do I feel guilt or shame about it? And to even share them publicly, do I feel guilt or shame about it, even though I'm heart-centered, even though I'm like destiny-driven and mission-driven? And if the answer to these questions are no, if not for you, like I said, plug in your industry, plug in who you are, race, nationality, doesn't matter, then you need to get around people who are regularly charging and paid. Let's not say charging, because people will be like, I have a $10,000 program and they never sold one. Then you don't have a $10,000 program, but I digress. You need to get around people who are regularly paid large amounts of money for their services. That's why it's so easy for me to charge $10,000, $25,000, $100,000, etc. Because in my communities, it's freaking normal. When you're around people who only charge $25 for an event, of course you're going to be afraid to charge $3,000 for your event. You got to get around people where $3,000 to $5,000 for an event is normal. You got to normalize it. I hope you're hearing me, right? In my community, it's normal. I always tell people, I don't care what industry you're in. I know somebody in your exact industry who charges $100,000, period. You might know therapists who charge $200 a month. I know therapists who are now charging $7,000 for a weekend retreat, right? You may know chiropractors who sell $50, $75, $150 sessions. But I know chiropractors who sell $50,000 packages. You might know business coaches who sell $997 courses, $2,000 courses, $10,000 courses. I know business coaches who sell six-figure coaching partnerships. So of course, I believe that that money is available to me. That's how I rapidly accelerated, is being around people where this was their normal. I'm like, well, what the heck am I doing? I'm playing way too small, because it's all around me by intention and by choice. We just did our mastermind with the Next Level Authority Mastermind, and one of the young ladies who's part of that community said that, you know, she just had her first $10,000 month and she was celebrating, and she was thanking everybody in the room for normalizing having money and making money. This is what I'm talking about. Normalizing and making money. Right? I know brand new business owners who charge $100K for their services out the gate. And a lot of people will say things like, I can't charge that much because I just started. But I promise you, if you're in the transformational and the expert space, you already have wisdom and knowledge of what you do. Now, this doesn't go for people who are just starting out, right? You haven't mastered your craft, but for most of you, you're stepping out of the corporate world or just a lifelong journey of mastering the thing that you're just now starting a business around. Maybe you did it for someone else, right? And now you're getting paid for it yourself. You're already at mastery level, but because it's new to you, you think you have to charge less. Okay? So get into a community where making massive amounts of money and charging is normalized. And I understand that for some of you, this conversation may be very uncomfortable. Wow, she's talking a lot about money. What you focus on grows. It needs to be normalized to talk about money and making money, especially in our businesses. This is the reason why, you know, in the first 5 years, almost 90% of businesses fail. In this coaching, consulting, and expert business space, there's a small percentage of people who ever make six figures, while there's so many people out there telling you they're going to teach you how to make six figures. And it's the mindset stuff that keeps most people stuck, because in society, we are groomed for the work mentality, right? We are groomed for working for someone else. We are groomed for not for taking the risk that it takes. We're not groomed to be entrepreneurs and to make a lot of money. We're groomed to be the workforce of the people who are making a lot of money. And in order for you to shift that, you've got to normalize thinking differently than you've ever thought before, because once you stepped into school, you were starting to be fed this, middle-class mentality. Let's just say that. Right? This middle-class mentality. I had a gentleman that I got to hang out with last year who kind of shift a lot of things for me in this area and allowed me to rapidly accelerate my income even last year and double what I had made the year before. And I asked him, he's a person who does millions of dollars from the stage. He'll sell from the stage and sell $1 million. It's insane, right? And so I was asking him, how did you shift from becoming a person who does $100,000 a year to a person who does $100,000 in a day, right? Or how did you shift from $1 million a year to $1 million a month? And this is what he said. He just looked at me and he said, you got to change your relationship to what you believe is a whole lot of money. You got to change your relationship to what you believe is a whole lot of money. It's so true. And right then I was like, boom. In my community, 10K clients is the low end of normal. And it's fun to watch my clients make this shift. And we celebrate the heck out of that ish. No shame, because we are changing lives. No guilt, because we're creating new normals. We're shifting legacies for generations. Block number 2. Block number 2. So I just talked about shifting the normal for what you charge or what you earn. That's not the only side of the equation where blocks show up. Okay? I want you to lean in and listen to this. You might also feel uneasy and some resistance when you think about asking someone to pay you massive amounts of money. You got to ask for the money. You can't just have the $10,000 offer. You have to ask people to pay it. If you want a $50,000 offer, you have to create one and then offer it. That's the only way you're going to get the money. People aren't going to show up to you and go, "Ooh, I need all this stuff. So can you make it 50K?" Right? So you got to normalize asking someone to pay you massive amounts of money. So I want you to check in with yourself with a couple of questions. Does it feel normal for someone who's new in business to invest thousands of dollars in your type of service? Does it feel normal to ask someone who is just a student to invest thousands of dollars in your type of service? Does it feel acceptable for a struggling artist to invest thousands of dollars in marketing training or sales training or whatever it is that you do, relationship coaching? Does it feel okay for someone who is maybe a single parent or a stay-at-home mom to invest thousands of dollars in relationship support? I want you to think about that. Because if it's not acceptable to you, you won't do it. You'll have your stories about why your audience won't pay you that much money. And I've seen people in all of those areas invest tens of thousands of dollars and get the result for the support that they need. And if they're not doing it with you, they're going to do it with someone else. I mean, that's not the reason to charge people more, but I just want you to anchor in how you may be blocking yourself from receiving at the level that you know your services is worth. So if you felt uneasy and you have stories around who can and cannot pay you, you also need to normalize the people who pay for these things. You know, we think that it's only billionaires and rich people and the elusive blue whale client or celebrities or trust fund babies, you know, who invest $10,000 plus in services, right? In transformational work and in experts. And that is not true. It's absolutely not true. And so what happens is in your mind, you're like, I need to find this pond. Here's what I know. Whenever I see somebody list out their client, who their ideal client is, and on there, it's like people who are ready to invest, I know that they have their own story and their own block. I don't think about my ideal client being somebody who's ready to invest or who can invest in my services at that level. My services the investment level is what it is, no matter what. So only the people who are ready and who can will invest in it, period. So I put it out there, you know, those who are ready will do it. I don't have to put that on my ideal client list. So when I see that, so if you're a person who has that, you know, people who are ready to invest, people who know investing is a thing, that kind of stuff, then that means you have probably some of this internal block going on. You got to normalize the people who pay for these things. It's not always just the people who are making millions of dollars a year who would invest at that level, right? The affluent. People will say high achieving women, and that's code for, like for me, I literally do work with high achieving women because they have a special set of circumstances that I know how to help them overcome that keeps them stuck. Not because I feel like a high achieving corporate woman, which corporate women aren't my ideal client, but I'm just putting that out there. When you see this, when I see this on an ideal client list, she should be making like 80,000, six figures, multiple six figures or more. So therefore she should be able to pay my $10,000 fee. From my experience, I know that's not true, right? I know college students, single parents, artists, you know, musicians, struggling business owners, and people in the middle, in middle class, people in the middle of expensive divorces, and people with credit card debt, and people with medical debt, and people who've gone bankrupt, all who have invested in 5-figure and 6-figure programs, services, experts. And they weren't scammed or hard sold to do it. They were excited, yes, cautious, and maybe had a little bit of fear there, but they were excited to invest in a solution to a problem that they've struggled to solve for months, years, or decade. Can I tell you that you may be that solution for someone and you're withholding it because of the story that you have? And all of the people that I know who fit those categories, they don't regret their investments or feel burned or tricked. They're celebrating big time results and life-changing freaking transformations. Some of my clients are those people, and I love watching it. The transformation is amazing. So let's also normalize investing in life transformation, investing in getting people from where they are to where they want to be, just like we normalize investing in college and new cars and big houses, but we won't normalize this investing in things that can shift legacies. So it's okay for somebody to pay 50 grand for a car, or a few $100,000 for a house, or 60, 70, $80,000 for college. You know, one of my friends just posted today, she's paying $58,000 a year for her daughter to go to college at a school where they teach entrepreneurship, where the instructor has never owned a business. And that's normal. We're okay with that. These kids come out of college. Heck, we came out of college. I know I did. I have a business degree. I came out of college not really knowing how to run a business. And it's normal that somebody would leave college with $50, $60, $70, $80,000 or more in school debt for college. And they can't do anything with it except go try to get a job. Right? So let's normalize for yourself so that you can have people pay you because you know you can get them results, investing in life transformation, in the transformation that you provide. Here's what I want you to know, and I want you to really get this. The pool of people who can pay you for your high-end, high-dollar services, for premium type services, is much bigger. It's way bigger than you think it is. And creating this new normal is your first step to becoming a highly paid leader and a power player in your industry, right? You know, I believe in being well paid for your expertise and your transformational work. I see cash in hand as one of the most powerful gateways to you having a bigger impact, enjoying your life more, a bigger legacy, and bigger freedom. You know, I was talking about my friend LaShawn Holland, who is going to be speaking at Game On Live this year, which is my 3-day transformational live event plug. That's coming up in November. And, you know, one of the reasons why I love her so much is she teaches people how to build generational wealth. It's not enough, even for me right now, which is what I'm really focused in this area. It is not enough for me to just simply make enough money to buy a couple of pairs of Louboutins, or to get a nice house, or to drive a nice car, or to buy nice clothes. That's not enough for me, or nice purses or whatever. That's not enough. I want to shift the way my family looks at money. And I want to leave a legacy of wealth behind, but it starts with making money first. Listen, you can help way more people with more money than you can ever help being broke. And we think it's the opposite, right? Or struggling, or making just enough, or just getting by, you know, being enough, pay your taxes, pay your bills. And like I said, buy a couple of pair of Louboutins and take some trips. I love all that stuff too. But you can help way more people if you were making obscene adult money. If you were in the millions, what could you do? So normalizing these things is where it starts. So we're going to continue this little series on charging whatever you want and selling with integrity. Like, I'm going to teach you how to do that, but it's just the start, right? Here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to do. If this has changed the way you think about charging for your work and the way that you want to show up, even this first piece, right? I'd love to hear what's been sticking out for you in the comments. Leave me a comment or a note. And I definitely just want to invite you to share this with someone, especially if you're on board for charging $10,000 or more for your services. I want to hear from you. I have a gift that I want to give you as well, right? If you really are ready to charge $10,000 and beyond for your services, but you don't know how to create that high-end, that luxe package, or get yourself in front of more high-end clients, then I want to gift you with something that eventually I'm going to end up charging for, but it's my high-end offer playbook. It's my premium program designer. I keep bobbing between both names. You can get it at highendplaybook.com. So if you go to highendplaybook.com, you can download it and it will begin to start you to thinking what goes into an offer that's $50,000 or $10,000 or, $100,000. What are people really investing in? So that's my gift to you for hanging out with me today. This is just the beginning of the series. I will be back tomorrow and we're going to go into part 2. And in part 2 of the series, I'm going to begin to break down some of those shifts that I talked about, the secrets that I'm going to give you. I'm going to share with you what I've learned from selling my own offers at high-end price points. And I'm talking, my lowest end offering right now is $2,000. I don't have anything less than that. And selling all the way up to 6-figure packages. And what I've learned from helping over 100 leaders and experts sell their offers at 5- and 6-figure price points as well. So you don't want to miss that. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye. What's up? What's up? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? I'm excited. Welcome to this second part of the series. I'm going to jump right into this thing and get it started. If you miss any bit of it, just listen to the recording. So I've been sharing the secrets of charging anything for your work. And it's been super powerful. Yesterday, we talked about raising your awareness or normalizing, let's say that. We talked about normalizing how much you feel like you can charge for your work and normalizing who you believe can pay. So normalizing you receiving big money for the work that you can do and normalizing the types of people that you think pay certain dollar amounts. You probably have a person in your mind who you think this is the kind of person that would invest 6 figures. This is the kind of person that would invest $10,000. This is the kind of person that would invest $20,000. And what you want to do is you want to normalize that so that that just regular people, it doesn't have to be a billionaire, a millionaire. It doesn't have to be a affluent person that you are searching for, this elusive blue whale client. And so that's what we talked about yesterday. If you missed it, go back and listen to the recording on that. So I'm sharing these secrets of charging anything for your work because I think it's powerful. I believe that these shifts and these secrets changed everything because they changed everything about sales for me and how I work in my business. They've definitely changed my bank account and they're helping me to change my clients as well. I believe that if you dive into these and really take them to heart and look at how and where you can implement them in your business, I think that will move the needle for you too when it comes to the area of sales and charging more for the work that you do. So yesterday we talked about those 2 blocks and normalizing money, right? Today, I want to talk about this first shift. And the first shift for today is raising your standards. You're like, okay, Shameca, that's simple. How's that going to help me make money? I want you to think about this. It's all about tolerations. It's all about what you're willing to tolerate. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But here's what I want you to know. If you want to unlock the upside of charging anything you want for your services, it starts with finding the right pocket of people, but actually being magnetized to that right pocket of people, right? We don't have to go look for them. We have to become attractive to them. And that happens when you raise your standards. So here's the key. Here's the key of that pocket of people who are willing to invest anything for your services is raising the bar on who you will sell to or raising your standards on who you allow in your programs and just your standards in general. So in my crew, we often say no a lot. Like seriously, we say no to a lot of people. It's like, I'm going to call this a no. And we celebrate saying no. It's like next, because we know. Here's what we know. We're making room for that right, perfect, ideal client who's going to get pretty badass, stellar results in our program. That client that it's going to be easy to work with and they're still going to be smashing it. So I'm not holding on to people just because they have the money to pay for me. I'm not allowing anybody in my program so I can say I have X amount of people into my program. What we do, because we understand we're making room for our best clients, we're setting up screening and filtering systems at every turn. So there's 3 places where we're always screening and filtering people out. The first place is in our messaging. Your messaging needs to rub the wrong client in the right way. Does that make sense? So the people that you don't want to buy your programs, the people you don't want in your programs, you want them to be like, ugh, I can't stand her. I don't believe in what she believes in. Your messaging should be letting people know this is who this is for. This is who this is not for. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Don't jump in my inbox. You don't have to say it as directly as I say it, but your messaging is a screening and filtering process. And a lot of you are just being way too nice. So your standards are low. You're like, well, let me just say something that I think everybody would like because you want people to like your posts. You want a lot of engagements. I'm not about vanity metrics. I'm about making sure that the message that I put out there calls to the heart and soul of the person, the type of person that I'm meant to serve. And I'm going to talk about who that is for me in just a minute. The second place where we're putting up screening and filtering processes is in communications with people. So in the messaging of people, oftentimes people will say, oh my gosh, I want to work with you. Or you might get people who send you messages and they're like, hey, I want to know about your program. Send me all this information. So before we do anything like that, even in our communications with people, we start to screen and filter. I teach my clients how to come up with a couple of questions that they can ask. It's usually 2 to 4 questions that they can ask before they even take a step to do any work. We raise the standard on how much work we're willing to do based on the screening and filtering process. The third place where we do screening and filtering and where we've raised our standards is in our sales process. So if you know anything about my sales process, it's pretty tedious. And here's why. Working with me, there's work you have to do. You're going to have to bump up against your comfort zone, every doubt and fear that you've ever had. I know that. So my sales process screens people out. If you're not willing to do the work in my sales process, you're likely not willing to do the work in my program. Most people don't use their sales process as well. What they do is they follow what they see everyone else doing. In my sales process, your sales process should be a mirror for the work with you. Not that you're coaching them in the sales process or that you're starting the work in the process, but it should be a mirror for the standard you set for your clients. It's the beginning of the relationship. It should be a mirror for, where you're holding them to. It should be a mirror for what you expect from them and what you expect to give. And so people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do a sales call at 9:00 at night. Well, are you going to coach your client at 9:00 at night? Why would you do a sales call at 9:00 at night? So that's the process. You're screening and filtering people. We're raising our standards in those areas. So your messaging, your communications, or your messaging with people, right? And your sales process. Listen, you can take money from anybody who has it. You can take money from anybody who's willing to pay you. But that is a surefire way to set yourself up for a headache, for stress and strife. This is the area we get in when we take money from anybody who shows up to pay us. This is the area we get in where we start to lack belief in our ability to get results. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, you may be taking a person on who you're not quite sure you can get results from. But also, if you have multiple people come through your programs that don't get results because they're not set up in the right way, it siphons your self-esteem and your confidence. You don't want to do that. You want people to be blowing it out the water. Yeah, all money ain't good money. Absolutely. It is not. Right? So when you don't do this, when you set up a standard for who you allow in your programs, you're not worried about whether or not the people are going to get the results. I see this all the time. I see people all the time selling to people. You're a social media marketing person and you sell to someone who doesn't even have a Facebook page or Instagram set up. And now you're like, man, I got to set that up and they need a header and they need all of these things. But how much better results would they get if they already had some things in place, including a following, right? So sell to people who stand to gain the most from your work. Sell to people who will win, not just those who have the money. Most people start off wanting to help everybody. But if you want to charge the most and make the biggest impact, if you want to charge more, if you want your programs, for me, so let me give you an idea of what this looks like. And there's people who do this at a higher level than even I do. Like I said, I know people who have 6-figure programs from almost everything out there. I know people who have 50K programs that don't have payment plans. Okay. It's about, again, raising your standards. What are you willing to tolerate? Right. So what you want to look at is, like, my lowest end program is $2,000 that I don't do sales conversations for. The lowest end program that I have that I do sales conversations for is 10,000, right? If that is where you desire to be, somewhere in that range of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, like, you want to charge more because you know you're making a big impact for people. You need to find the people who need you the most, the ones who will get the best results, the ones who are ready. These are the best buyers in my experience. So let me share with you what this looks like. All right. So lean into this. A little of this is going to be some questions, but you want to write some of these things down and start asking yourself, am I doing this? Am I going after these types of people, or am I only letting people in to my world? Am I taking money from anybody who's willing to pay? My only reason for a sales conversation is to get to the end and see if they're willing to pay me. My reason for a sales conversation, at every question that I ask people from the beginning of the call to the end, I'm deciding, do I want to continue this call or not? Am I going to even get to the point where I'm going to make an offer? Every question is a disqualification question. Totally different way, because my standards are different. And ever since I've raised my standards, as you can see, my clients get stellar results, incredible results, mind-blowing results. They're breaking their own records every freaking day. So here's the best buyers in my experience. Best buyers in my experience are the ones who are in the deepest pain and they get it. Here's what I mean. They're fed up, right? It's not so much pain that's all they're focused on. Is like, oh my gosh, I can't find clients, or oh my gosh, my relationship sucks. Not so much pain where they're just so in it that they need therapy. They don't need a consultant or a coach or, someone to mentor them out of that situation. They're not looking for transformation. They're looking for a pity party, or they're looking for counseling or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. They're in the deepest pain and they know it, right? And they know that they need some help. Right? So I want to break this down for you. There are 3 types of buyers. Okay. There's 3 types of buyers. And I want you to understand this, because most people are selling to the wrong folks, which is why it's like threading, putting a camel through an eye of a needle in order for you to get money for people to buy from you. Everyone's telling you they can't afford it. Your messaging is focusing in the wrong place. So the first type of buyer is the ones who don't even know they have a freaking problem. They don't even know that they're in pain. They might know something's wrong, but they don't think it's something that's solvable for them. They're not looking to have anybody help them with that. They're just doing life the way that it is, and they're perfectly fine with everything being broken. How many times have you gone to a networking event or any event, and you're sitting in a room with someone you can see that they would probably make an ideal client because you can see that you can help them. And most of you want to proselytize those people and tell them why and how and what your services are going to do for them. And hopefully they'll get on a call with you. It's exhausting, right? I see those people and I'm like, I'll be here when they're ready. Duly noted. They might go on my hit list. There's different things that I might do, but I don't try to proselytize them. I don't try to convert them into somebody who, listen, you have a problem that I can fix. Wake up. We don't want to do that, right? That's not what we're doing. So there's that level of buyer that's basically in a no-go zone. They have a problem, but they're not aware that they have a problem or that they're even in pain because they're basically kind of numb to it, right? The next level of client is they know they have a problem, but they aren't actively looking to solve it. They know there's something wrong, but they're not looking to have anybody solve it, right? So the first client is not even aware there's something going on. The second one is they know something's broken, but they have their own stories as to why they're not going to fix it. And the pain is not strong enough to them to move on it. I talk about the fire alarm all the time, or the smoke detector. If you ever had a smoke detector in your house beep and you didn't change the battery quickly, What happens is you have a system in your brain so that you're not overloaded with information called the reticular activation system that tunes out anything that you don't need. It's the reason why you can drive home, end up home and go, oh shoot, how did I even get here? Because you've done it so many times, your body goes on autopilot. A lot of people are living life on autopilot. They don't even know it. So they have problems, but they're not actively seeking to solve them because they're like the smoke detector or driving home. With the smoke detector, if you don't change the battery, the beeping actually goes away in your brain. Your brain tunes it out. So they've tuned out the fact that they're in pain. You know, there are people who have businesses that aren't even at six figures, and six figures is like probably one of the lowest acceptable levels of where you can have a business that literally you can live from, depending on where you live at. I live in California, so it's not six figures. Anyway, I digress. It's probably one of the lowest levels of business you want to get to, but the majority of business owners don't get there. Most people make $25,000, $30,000 a year, $50,000 a year. And even though it's a struggle for them, they do it year after year after year after year. They're numb to it. They've tuned out the fact that there is a desire for growth. They've tuned out the fact that they need to do something else to shake up the system to create that six-figure, $500,000, $1 million in revenue. They're in that smoke detector phase. And with the smoke detector, you don't even realize that thing is beeping until somebody else shakes you up and says, hey, what's that beeping noise? It's freaking annoying. And you're like, oh, shoot. I've been meaning to change that battery in that thing. And then you go change the battery. So that's the second level of client. They know there's a problem, but they're not actively seeking to solve it. They're numb to it. The third client, this is where the juicy goodness is. And this is where most people fail when it comes to the standards that they set. Most people's standards are set to buyers number 1 and 2, mostly because they want to save the world. And they're like, oh my gosh, if I could just teach all these people that they need me, there's so much potential out there. And it's wasted energy. The third level of client and where you want to spend your most time is the people who know they have a problem and they are looking for a solution. They are freaking over it. They know they can't do it alone, and they're looking for the best of the best to support them in doing it. This is where your ultra high-end services, programs, courses, if you guys are selling courses, these are the people who will pay you anything. The ones who are already in action mode, not the ones who are in research mode, not the ones who are in consumption mode, just consuming course upon course upon course, Google information upon Google information upon Google information, event after event after event. But the ones who are already in action trying to solve the problem on their own, they just have taken themselves as far as they know, as far as they can go. The ones who are already have a lot of what's needed in place that will accelerate your work together. And here's the thing about those types of people. They're the ones that scare you the most. They're the ones who scare most of you, which is why you're underpaid, because you want to save the people who don't have everything together. But if you look at those higher level clients who almost have everything in place, they're just missing that 1 degree, which is you, that will catapult everything. Listen, learning this, implementing this in my business shifted everything for me. Taking clients who are already badass at what they do, already creating results, already have clients, already making some money, and saying, boom, 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 tweak this. This is why we have rapid acceleration. Rather than taking someone who from start who's saying, I don't know what I should sell. I don't know if anybody will pay me, right? It's that 1 degree. I don't know if you've ever heard the story. I can't remember the company that put this out, but it's about the temperature at which water boils. The temperature at which water boils is 212 degrees. The water could be hot. It could be 211 degrees. It can be 210 degrees. It can be 180 degrees. It can be hot as hell, right? It could burn you, but it will not boil until it reaches a temperature of 212 degrees. The people in this level, the ones where you want to raise your standard, where I only serve these clients, they're at 211, and they just need you to put them to 212 so that they're rapidly boiling. You get me? All right. You're also looking for the ones that are like set up already. They're poised to create massive impact and results, right? You don't have to create everything for them from scratch. The ones who already, like, they don't have time to waste. It's a right now thing. It's a yesterday thing. Not because they're in trauma mode, not because they're in a mode where it's like, oh, I need to fix this by yesterday so I can pay my bills or something like that. Not that kind of mode. Not like, oh my gosh, my divorce court is tomorrow. Can you save my relationship? But the ones who are like, this has to get fixed. It's like, do this or bust. It's the last time. Some of my best clients are people who have invested tens of thousands of dollars with other coaches. And they're like, you know what? I'm willing to bet on myself one more time with you. And then boom. Right? Those are the best ones. It's a right now thing. It's like, if not now, then when? The ones who already have everything in place to win. Those are the people who are willing to pay anything, because to them, your work is everything. Right? Your work is worth everything to them. They know the value of skipping the line and tapping into someone else's zone of genius to get ahead. That's what I'm talking about. So, like I said, raising these standards is about tolerations. So I want to ask you a few questions. We're going to dig deep for just a few more minutes, and then we're going to be out of this. Some questions that I want you to just kind of lean into, journal about tonight, rewatch this, re-listen to this if you need to. And I want you to dig deep, not just in the area of clients, but I want you to look at, what are you tolerating? Where do you need to raise your standards? Where do you need to raise the bar? Because if you're tolerating one thing, you're likely tolerating in other areas too. And it all affects your capacity to receive. It all affects your ability to make more money. It all affects your allowing people to pay you big money. It all affects you holding clients for a longer period of time and being able to upsell them, all of those things. So question number one. What are you tolerating in your business and your life that doesn't meet your standards? What are you tolerating in your business and life that doesn't meet your standards? For instance, with your clients, are you taking on people that aren't a fit? Basically because they represent a paycheck to you. Let me go on and get this money, right? A lot of times it shows up like this. You have a program that you want to sell. You have a package that you've put together. You have a service that you really want to offer. And then somebody comes and they have a one-off deal that you could do real quick. And you jump to that and you move focus off the thing you really want to sell. It could look like that. That's a toleration. The more you allow things like that to take space, you don't have the space for the thing that you really want. So sometimes we have to shut off things to make room for what we really want. Okay. When I was starting my business, I just figured I'd take any client that came my way. But in order for me to get to where I am today, I had to up-level my standards. I had to take a real hard look at what I was really willing to tolerate. And I stopped accepting applications from people who weren't willing to make the investment of time, effort, and money it takes to work with me. I just stopped. Anytime I get a ding in my spirit that this person's not ready, I will derail. I will send them somewhere else, right? Whether it's a referral to someone else, give them another resource. I won't do the sales call just for the sake of doing the sales call and make the offer just for the sake of making the offer because their money's not good with me. When they're ready, I'll be here. Okay. Second question. Do your current standards reflect your desire to have a multiple 6-figure or 7-figure business? Do your current standards, how you operate your business, the clients you take, the type of offers you have, your pricing, do those standards reflect your desire to have a multiple 6-figure or 7-figure business? I know. Ouch. One of the first things I do with people who come to me is we look at their pricing and their packaging. And we just did this this weekend at a retreat. We were mapping out business models. And one of my clients gave me their pricing. And I'm like, do you realize you would have to sell 152, packages, even a mixture of all of this stuff to even hit 6 figures? Your pricing's off. Right? You're not going to get there. You're going to be exhausted. And most people don't even take a look at that. You don't even have the space. If you're exhausted right now with the 8 to 10 clients that you currently have, where is the room for the rest of these? So does it match? Does it match? Because at that point, it's not about what people are willing to pay. It's about the business model, right? You charge based on what it takes to operate your business. It's about your livelihood at that point. And so the next question would be this: in order for that to really be your reality, if you're not at multiple six figures right now, in order for multiple six figures to be your reality, who do you need to become? In order for seven figures, right? In order for a seven-figure business to become your reality, if that's your desire, who do you need to become? Who do you need to become? Because we have tolerations that we accept that we don't even realize we're doing. We don't even realize we're doing it. We make decisions from the lack space that we're currently in, or the lack mindset that we have. And I don't care how much money you have, lack can show up. We make decisions as if money is a finite resource instead of an infinite resource that flows consistently from person to person. Who do you need to become? What would you tolerate in your business if you were already there? If you were already at multiple six figures, if you were already at seven figures, what would you tolerate? What wouldn't you tolerate? What would have to go? What would be a no-brainer? It needs to be there. How would you be making decisions right now if you were already that person? What standards do you have when it comes to clients if you're already that person? You'd be like, bye, Felicia. Here's your refund. Or you wouldn't even take the money at all. Right? Does a level of client you're willing to accept at that level, if you're at seven figures or multiple six figures, does the level of client you're willing to accept match to the desired business you're looking to create? I'm going to say that again. Does the level of client you are willing to accept match the desired business you're looking to create? I get tired of hearing people tell me how exhausted they are by their clients. First of all, life is a mirror. If you want great clients, you need to be a great client. That's the first thing. I know, I'm on one today. Second thing, what is your level of toleration? Where's your standard? Raise the bar. If you're not attracting the kind of clients that you want, why not? Start thinking, what are you currently experiencing that reflects the level of the bar that you have set for yourself? And if you don't like it, if you don't like the type of clients you're getting, if you don't like the money that you're making, the revenue that you're bringing in, the money that's in your bank account, if you're on roller coaster income, whatever that is, if you're stuck at a pricing or a revenue plateau, then change the standard. We all have a level. We have a high end and a low end of what we're willing to tolerate. Gay Hendricks in the book, The Big Leap, calls them the upper and lower limits. You have complete control over what those are once you become aware of them. Change your standards. Change your standards. Listen, no one wins when you're settling for a life of mediocrity, scarcity, hustle, exhaustion. Your playing small serves absolutely nobody, boo. No one. Yet everyone wins when you're living in an overflow state, in an overflow of abundance, in an overflow of excitement and joy and energy. Being well paid, well compensated, and well valued is a big piece of that. So this little series that we're doing right now on charging whatever you want, and of course, doing it in integrity, it's just the start. It's just the start. I'm bringing awareness to areas you might not have even considered because you think you need to go pay for a Facebook ads expert or a social media person or somebody to show you how to use YouTube, or, you need to get a funnel in place and a webinar, when the thing that's actually keeping you stuck at the plateau is you. And it's you're not being aware of these little things that I'm bringing to the table, bringing to the surface. Okay. So if the series is changing the way you're thinking about charging for your work, I want to hear about it. I want to hear your biggest takeaway. Share it with me. Go journal a little bit, come back to this, come back and leave a comment and tell me. Okay. And I want to personally extend an invitation. I did this yesterday. I want to do it again. If you're all in and you're ready and you're on board for charging $10,000 and beyond for your services, listen, I walk people through this all the time. I walk people through how to set up their services for 6 figures. I walk people through how to set up their services for 50K or more, 20, 10. We do this all day. So if you're on board for charging 10,000 or more for your services, but you don't know even where to start doing that as far as creating your high-end luxury premium package and getting in front of more high-paying clients, or you want to sell a ultra high-end offer over the phone with certainty, simplicity, and just an ease and a flow to it, then we should talk. We should have a conversation. You can reach out to me, but I also want to gift something to you. I created a really powerful toolkit to help you get started on creating a high-end offer. It's called the High-End Offer Playbook, or my premium program designer, whichever one suits you. I'll settle on the name at one point in time. The way that you're going to get access to is you can go to highendplaybook.com, and a little bit later, I'll put the link at the bottom of this video, but go to highendplaybook.com. I walk you through what are the questions you need to ask yourself in order to put an offer like that together. And it's my gift to you. At some point in time, we are going to sell it, but for right now, it's a free gift. And it's super powerful because most people think high-end offers, they're like, I don't even know what goes into a 6-figure offer. Can I tell you the fastest way though to know what to put into a high-end offer is to become a high-end client. Once you go through a mastermind, that's $25,000, $30,000, $50,000. You have no questions about what goes into what. But if you're on the backside looking in, you're like, you've never paid $10,000 for an offer. It's kind of out of alignment and integrity for you to ask other people to invest that much if you're not willing to invest that much. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not saying go out and buy a bunch of $10,000 programs, but it's super easy to stand in agreement with someone on a sales call who's going through their own fear and terror barrier about investing at that level when you've done it, because you know what it feels like. It's super easy. And you know what's in programs like that, and you can create your own because you've been a student of them. You've been a client in them. This playbook, this premium program designer will get you started looking at what are the right things that I should be looking at. Because it's really not about what you put in it as much as it is about understanding the value that you bring to the table. And then putting some structure around how do you help clients get results. And so I walk you through that, including how to put a guarantee on an offer that large if you would like to. Okay. So that's my gift to you. And you can get access to that again by going to highendplaybook.com. All right, guys. So we're going to come back with this in the next part of this series. And I'm going to be taking you through another one of my shifts that I think is going to be super, super supportive, helpful to you. And actually for this shift, for the next shift, I'm bringing a client in because we're going to talk about her transformation. She had a lot in this shift, a lot going on with her in this shift. And it's about what happens when you up level fast. What does that look like? Because most people think in order for them to go from, doing 6 figures to $1 million or not hitting 6 figures for most of their life to hitting it, it's going to take them 3 years to 5 years and have a 3 to 5 year plan to get to the next level. And it could happen, boom, like that. But you got to be ready for what comes with that. And so we're going to talk about this tomorrow in this secret and shift to charging anything that you want. We're going to talk about what it looks like when you up level fast. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. All right. I'm going to take off and I will see you soon. Don't forget, let me know what you're getting out of this series. I really want to know. All right. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment. Like right now. I'm not gonna stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment.